Offseason talks keep picking up as Elliotte Friedman recently stated that surrounding Jordan Kyrou, Montreal is one of the teams linked in many rumors. We have to dive into this crazy recent report, but it's not just that. We got to go back to the draft as Montreal has drafted one of, if not the most fun player in this whole draft in LJ Mooney, Little John Mooney. Yes, that's his real name. Not only does the 5'7" player have incredible skill, but he's 5'7", laying out bodies, including Blackhawks pick Anton Frundell right there. We got to dive into the Kyrou rumors, LJ Mooney, and also another Habs goalie prospect, a Quebecois guy that is just such a feel-good story. A bunch of crazy stuff coming up on this episode of Habs Digest, and we're going to start off with a bang. Oh, we got to get to Mooney later, but we're going to start with this here today, Jesse. Elliotte Friedman said, for Jordan Kyrou, there's a lot of rumors with Montreal, but I'll say this, one of the teams I wonder about for Kyrou, Seattle. But Montreal, Jesse, this is no longer just speculation. This is true. This is out there. Friedman's talking about the rumors being there surrounding Montreal. And the thing is, the Blues, they reportedly want a center back. And look, we know Jordan Kyrou. He's a winger. He doesn't really take faceoffs, but he fits that bill of top six winger Kent Hughes has been looking for. I know people talk about him being soft or whatever, but a guy that has a 37 and a 36 goal season, has scored over 30 the last 3 years in a row. The talks would involve, I'm sure, Kirby, Dach, and some other prospects and some futures. But Jesse, the fact that this is like, again, just like the Dobson stuff, started out as just a murmur, has kind of gone up now, even Friedman's talking about it, makes me think that there's probably something to this.
Well, you're so right to bring up Dobson. It's after you start hearing these names a couple more times when it starts to just get that much more serious, that there seems to be, okay, we're trying to get towards something tangible. Like, we can confirm Kent Hughes has re-entered the kitchen and is looking to cook again. Josh, like, I'm all here for it because you can't wait like too long till all the good players, like we see in July 1st, like how many deals are done, like players are going left, right, and center. And if you kind of wait and stand by idle, all the good players are really gone. So I really like that Kent Hughes is being active in this approach. I believe he's looking at a couple different guys. I'm still not going to rule out a Jason Robertson, which if we're looking at improve the top six via winger, makes a lot of sense. That's probably still my preferred over Jordan Kyrou. But again, a lot to like in that game as well, as long as he, again, with like Dobson, as long as you can surround him with the right personnel. I know in some kind of videos we're getting into soon, we'll kind of address that going forward because it's an important issue going forward. That being said, if we can bring up the right makeup, like you've been found, Josh, and you know what? Like the more you kind of say it, it's getting to me a little bit that like Kyrou could be a good addition to the team.
I mean, yeah, objectively, the skill is insane. I know there's some downsides with him. He doesn't address the size thing, but hey, you know, what Dobson kind of did. And yeah, it's crazy. And looking at the right D market now, it's unbelievably smart that Kent Hughes and co did what they did with Noah Dobson. Because if we wanted to address the right D in free agency, especially now with Dante Fabro extending with Columbus at like a nearly $5 million cap hit, Aaron Ekblad's really the only really solid right D left on the market. And there's a lot of concerns with him. So regardless, like, yeah, better to snatch up a player before they go, but very interesting. We had to bring up what Elliotte Friedman had to say about Kyrou, but let's circle back to the prospects. We're going to be keeping you updated on all the Habs trade talk, including another video coming soon about Mike Matheson, so keep an eye out for that. But let's go back to the prospect talk here, Jesse. I want to talk about Alexis Cournoyer. Now, this is a very interesting pick for Montreal, among many others, but again, you got to stick around for LJ Mooney. Holy crap, this guy is unbelievable. Coming up in just a few minutes here, but Alexis Cournoyer was born to be a Hab, Jesse. Just wanted to highlight him because, look, he said, I don't really have any words. As you can tell, the Montreal Canadiens mean a lot to me, as he pointed to the Habs lamp above his head in the video interview. When I saw my name appear, I couldn't believe it. I dropped my cell phone. It fell on the floor. Couldn't believe it. Gave my mom a hug. They picked him 145th overall out of the Cape Breton Screaming Eagles. And the cool thing with him, Jesse, is he shot up from almost nothing, playing in the MHL, the Canadian MHL, with Truro last year, to be in a backup this year, but playing so well as a backup. 942 save percentage, 1.82 GAA as a 19-year-old 6'3", that he ended up starting in the playoffs for them. Now, it wasn't his best two-game playoff performance, but this kind of stuff shooting out of nowhere is what we absolutely love to see. The Trois-Rivières native, really like this story, and love that he's motivated to do something for Montreal. The stats back it up.
For sure. And I mean, Alexis Cournoyer, that's not going to hurt either and all this. A great name coming to the Montreal Canadiens here if he can kind of get that opportunity. But of course, you know, we're maybe a little bit biased, you know, here to the Quebec goalies. Like, we absolutely love them. We think there's going to be a renaissance. That they're coming back for sure. It's only a matter of time. And we'll see how much Alexis Cournoyer can really factor into this. Of course, it's 6'3", 6'4". The 12 Riviera native is really got that going for him. Uses a lot of poise in the net, and a big thing that I've really liked about his game is just like, really kind of knowing when to be really aggressive.
Yeah.
He was ranked the 16th in North American goalies. It's going to be interesting to see how he pans out, because we just got so many promising goalies in the system right now. But you know what, Josh? Like, we understand how important it is, so definitely happy that we're able to make this selection.
Yeah, for sure. And look, from Habs Eye on the Prize, I'll link this down below. Just a couple things. Like, his attitude is a highlight. Everyone wants to coach this guy. Everyone really likes him. They want to work with him. And he's got that work ethic and willingness to improve. And his technique is good, and he can read the play. A big problem is his athleticism at the moment, but sometimes you can train that, right? And that's one of the things you can train with, strength and conditioning. So I'll link this whole thing down below. You can pause and feel free to read that. Won't block up the screen too much, but great selection. Love all the picks Montreal has made, Jesse. And Alexis Cornway, feel good story. Wish the best for him. He's, again, one of these guys, just like Michael Hage, born to be a Montreal Canadian. But this next guy, LJ Mooney, Jesse, he reminds me of a little bit of Cole Caufield, a little bit of Lane Hudson, a little bit of everything, just probably because he's small. But oh my gosh, I really want to dive into him. Here's Byron Bader's comparable card to Jacob Pelletier, who again hasn't really taken that huge leap yet, but has a ton of talent. LJ Mooney's the newest member of the Montreal Canadiens. You can see their elevator pitch from elite prospects, tiny yet physical winger with dynamic skating and handling, has the tools to play in the NHL at his size, but he must develop his reads and playmaking further. But if you just watch his highlights, he's unbelievable. You can see LJ stands for Little John from Stephen Ellis, first round talent, one of the most energetic, skilled wingers you'll find. You'll see him dangling people left and right. He's insanely fun to watch, and just rolling the highlights again. Not only does he have the dangles, not only does he have a sick shot, he also lays the body despite his size, Jesse. One of the most fun players in this draft. I am so happy Montreal took him. Just look at these hits.
Yeah, definitely. That's it. And that's one thing that, even though he's a little bit smaller, that they really like to compete. When Habs Brass, Lapointe, and Nick Bobrov were speaking about this, they said like the size for them wasn't an issue because of the way that he's really competing. Again, athlete name at 5'7", Little John Mooney, the cousin of Logan Guhle.
Yep.
We're not even making this up, like fact check that. That's actually true, right? And there's actually a lot of media buzz already around this player and a lot of scrutiny. But we got to remember the Habs' MO was to get that top 6 talent that can really, at the same time, that can really kind of benefit this team going forward. He's obviously got a lot of time to develop. He's going to be going to the University of Minnesota in 2026. So it's got a little bit of runway ahead of then. But again, very dynamic player, great playmaker. And obviously, when you're watching him, he skates very well, and the skill is super obvious kind of going forward. So this will definitely be an interesting prospect to keep some tabs on.
And I want to just say, like, where have we heard this before? He has first-round talent. He's energetic, and he's one of the most skilled, energetic players you could find. Not as a concern about his size, though, but he's super fun to watch. Where have you heard that before? Where have you heard about a player that clearly has first-round talent slipping down the draft to a Montreal team that's willing to take the risk on a guy? I'm just saying, there's a certain guy that fits that bill as well. Now, not everyone can pan out the way Lane Hudson did, Jesse, but clearly Montreal's one of these teams that, especially after the success of Lane Hudson, is not afraid, like we talked about with the Jurovsky pick or so many other guys, like, not afraid to take that risk on a guy that has concerns, like boom or bust concerns, but we feel like we can develop them, especially with the success of our guys. I just really feel like it's a Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton kind of pick.
Oh, absolutely. And you got to feel in a lot of ways with this player, he's kind of like a Nick Suzuki light in a lot of ways, where he's just so good at playmaking, where you can kind of look off, freeze them, and then set up people. That's kind of his MO. I think look for him to kind of start looking to be a little bit more selfish going forward. But again, 28 points in 26 games of USHL kind of going forward here. But obviously it's just going to be him to pick up that size over time. And with this Habs development staff, again, that could be the X factor. That's why it makes sense to go for those guys that got that high potential. You're kind of betting on, okay, we got the staff to really develop this player properly. And I mean, again, there's a reason why Nick Bobrov and Lapointe, why they got that smile on their face while they're bringing up. They see something there. They're really excited about this player.
Yeah, for sure. 51 points in 51 games with the national development team. Again, only 10 goals, but second in points per game on that team. And like you said, 28 points in 26 games in the USHL, second in points per game on his team. So he's got the talent. He's got the poise. He's got the energy. Just wait to see if he can put it all together. Very excited about all this stuff. But listen, that'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. So much news coming out, and we are your home for all of the latest updates. So, hey, if you've clicked off the tab, come back. Just double check if you're subscribed. Leafs Digest, they're going crazy right now. We got to catch them. So help us catch Leafs Digest subscribers. But hey, thank you so much for tuning in every single day. We'll be right back very soon with another video just like this one. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.